Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for coming to this talk. You've just been watching a clip from what I think you'll agree is one of the most romantic and beautiful movies ever made. And I think we can all agree that the emotional intensity of that love scene taking place in the hills above Florence is greatly enhanced by the beautiful voice of Dame Kiri Te Kanawa singing an aria from Puccini's La Rondine. The premise of today's talk is that opera was the great art form of the 19th century, that the movies were the great art form of the 20th century, and when the two art forms coalesce, as they do in that clip, the result is something far more powerful than the sum of their individual parts. It's by no means inappropriate that our first clip should be set in the hills above Florence, because opera is the only one of the art forms whose place and time can be precisely dated. Opera was quite consciously invented in the year 1597 in Florence by a group of gents called the Camerati, the Florentine Camerati. This was the height of a period we've now come to call the Renaissance, and Renaissance means rebirth. And here we mean a rebirth of interest in the values of ancient Greece and Rome, and very specifically the renaissance, the rebirth of the values of Greek drama. One of the things we think we know about Greek drama is that it was almost certainly sung and not spoken, for at least three reasons. The most obvious reason is that the sung voice carries so much further than the spoken voice in these huge open-air amphitheatres. The second reason is that when you have something in life or in art of a particularly heavy emotional content, we almost invariably sing it and not speak it. So it comes to pass that we sing, we do not speak the national anthem. When we wish to sing happy birthday to somebody, we do it in our best full-throated style. We don't speak it, and we sing it, I'll have you know, to a tune composed by two ladies from my adopted state of Kentucky. So I think we can all agree that singing is basically speaking, carried to the next highest emotional level. So as I've said, it came to pass that in 1597 an opera was produced called Daphne, based on a classical theme by a composer called Peri. And Peri's Daphne was the first opera, and it created a whole art form which swept through Europe in the succeeding 250 years, and in that time was the great popular art form of the people, until replaced, I think we can all agree, around 1900 by the cinema. So this afternoon we're going to compare and contrast these two great art forms, and one of the things I think it's important to note is that many of the criticisms made about early movies, far too high sexual content, far too much sensation, grand scenery, effects without cause, were also said of opera. And we'll compare and contrast the history of these two very great art forms.